Let's get to the rat bastard. The man who's allegedly calls himself the alleged orchestrator, allegedly in Tupac's and allegedly in Biggie's murders, right? The rat bastard, like no other, the snitch, the federal informant, the Suge Knight bootlicker, the dude who got a badge in one hand and a pound of weed in the other. This dirty, stinking pig still rolling over in the mud, Rodent Rat Jr., right? Now, let's Rodent Rat Jr., right? This is the guy who's a federal informant. This is the guy who was a federal informant and self-proclaimed snitch on Omar Bradley Jr., the mayor of Compton, right? This is the guy who testified in the grand jury against Keefe D, right? And gave up all the Compton Bloods and Pyru's names, street names, government names, right? This is the same guy who sat there and told Greg Caden that Southside killed Biggie in retaliation for not getting their money for Tupac, for killing Tupac. This is the guy that sat there and said that and told Vlad on Vlad TV that Suge Knight was responsible for killing Biggie. Russell Poole just didn't do his homework right. This is the guy who's had Teresa Swan or Tammy Hawkins or whatever her name is try to set Suge Knight up along with Greg Caden to go up in the jail and get Suge to make some type of confession to pin the notorious B.I.G. murder on Suge, right? This rat bastard is the one that called ahead at the Soul Train Awards and told them don't let them into the Soul Train Awards with the P-Funk shirts on because they going to grab Biggie off the stage and beat him up, right? This is the rat bastard that after Tupac and them fought Orlando Anderson, supposed to be the head of security, didn't show up to do security. This is the rat bastard that didn't show up to the crime scene after Tupac and Suge car got shot up. This is the rat bastard that called his daddy and told him Orlando Anderson was the shooter and he wasn't even at the scene of the crime. Right? This funky pig is also the guy who was a Compton police officer that has been convicted for money laundering, transporting drugs from state to state, did federal time, and people sit there and do interviews with this guy like he's a good guy. This is a guy that was a cop turned drug trafficker, money laundering. And you got these silly YouTubers who sit around and laugh and key with this funky pig and act like he's a good guy. They have no integrity. Then you got goofballs like Vlad, who employs this guy to interview gangbangers. May I repeat, you got guys like Vlad that employs convicted drug dealing, money laundering, former police department officers to interview gangbangers. And says and calls this guy a friend. What is going on out here? Is this what this world is coming to? Now, more recently, this funky pig, better known as Pork Butt, goes on record and admits that he gave Vlad all the questions for Vlad's first interview with Neckbone, as well as wrote the questions for Neckbone in the second interview where he interviewed him. So Neckbone, if you are watching, know that this is a informant, a federal informant, a LAPD informant, and you sat down and did an interview with this informant who gave Vlad questions to ask you about murders like Bobby Finch. And you sit there and you sat down with this dude and you trust him to openly ask you about a murder that they accused you of that has never been public record. You trust this funky pig that sat there on public record and said that Suge Knight allegedly got Biggie Smalls killed and set him up with the LAPD to try to get him to incriminate himself on a visit by sending wires into jail? And you trust this dude, Neckbone? And you sitting down laughing and keying with this rat bastard? The same dude that set Suge up and told him he was clear to leave the country to go work, and he wasn't. And Suge came back at the same time where your house got raided when you was living in Suge's house, mother's house, and lied and said that I said that your house got raided from the interview. No, I didn't. Each and everybody knows your house has not been raided since you've been doing interviews. I was talking about when you were staying in Suge's mother's house and the house got raided simultaneously when Suge and them is coming back from the Bahamas and he gets raided by the same people that raided you when Reggie doodled on himself. Doodle boy. You ain't say that was a lie, huh? Suge wasn't lying about that. When you doodled on yourself, when you seen all them police and Suge looked at you like, nigga, you set me up and you doodled on yourself. and y'all got in the police car, and he could smell the doodle on you. Potty boy. So now you go on record and say that you wrote all those questions for Vlad to ask Neckbone. What was you trying to do? Jam him up? And then you come behind and interview him and try to reiterate some of those questions and ask him again in a different way, still trying to jam him up. You still working? Who's your handler now? Porky? And now y'all F Mar James out of his channel? Yo, Mar James, at what point do you realize that Reggie is not your friend, my nigga? Now, I know I'm not your friend. I know I'm not Neckbone friend. And I know y'all may not got love for people from New York. But where I'm from don't matter. It's all about truth. And if Neckbone, you don't think that this dude tried to jam you up with those questions, you tell me what was he doing. Mar James, you built that channel from zero. And they just go and take your whole image off of it and everything because they sold their channel, bum ass broke niggas. Yeah, they sold their channel. This is why y'all seeing repeats, because they sold their channel. And now y'all going to take Marv James' channel. Marv James, they effed you with the Gangster Chronicles. Now they effing you again, and you built that from scratch. And you think Reggie is your friend, Marv James? They taking food out your grandson's mouth. They did you dirty again, Marv James. How many times you gonna? You know what, Marv James? I know you don't like me. I know you don't like me. I know you don't like me. But the truth hurts, and I'm just keeping it a being with you. How could you build a channel from scratch? And they just take it from you. And take your intellectual property and just take it from you and take your name off of it and everything. How does that work? And Reggie's your friend? So all your fans that went and subscribed for you, they just pull the rug from right under you, Marv James. How does that work? That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. And whoever bought their channel, y'all, how are you allowing them to duplicate the channel? Now they taking money from your mouth. They coming with the same thing that you bought. You bought the channel, and now they duplicate it. You should own that one too. They can't do that. I can't believe they did Marv James that dirty. Man, man. Yo, And then you keep running your mouth. Well, just know I grabbed it before you take it down. How your dumb ass sat up there and said the time about you being involved and then try to switch it up. You know, because I was around during the time when Death Row was this. I was around with my time when I was running Death Row. I was around the time being involved in the round up. Arguing with people about Biggie and Tupac murder. You sat there and said the time about being involved and tried to clean it up. You tried to clean it up. You said the time about being involved and then tried to clean it up in arguments with people about Biggie and Tupac murder. You was around at the time about being involved. Go ahead and take it down. I got it already. And I will be putting it on my Instagram. Flag that. Because I'm not going to put it on here, but I will put it on Instagram. The time you was around during or being involved in the Biggie and Tupac murder, you said that and tried to clean it up with in arguments with people about I was around during the arguments. The arguments. This is why a long time ago, Sharitha Knight told you, stay off the internet, Reggie. Let them people think what you want. Because the more you talk, the more you plant your foot in your back pocket. And I hope the defense was watching that and they grabbed that too. Because you just jammed your foot in your mouth again. The time around being around involved, in arguments about Biggie and Tupac murder. That don't even sound correct. You was around during the times you was involved, involved in arguments with Biggie and Tupac murder. Nigga, you sound busted. Keep telling on yourself, Porky. Once a rat, you'll start ratting all on your damn self. Neckbone, are you aware that this dude said he was a federal informant? While at death row? Did you know that? He is admitted to this, Neckbone. Are you aware of a cop called Gray Kading, Neckbone? LAPD? Do you know that Reggie was working with him and is still friends with this cop today? Do you know he worked with him to line up Suge Knight? This is no alleged. Neckbone, go watch Murder Rap. If you never seen it, you'll see Reggie on there. Go watch Reggie's interviews on Vlad, where he tells Vlad that Russell Poole got it right on who killed Biggie. And which call it, Vlad says, who, Poochie? He go, Poochie? Yeah, no. He say, Suge? He go, yeah. Russell Poole just didn't do his homework right. You know how back in the days when your teacher said when you do a math problem or something, you didn't do your homework right? He just ain't do his homework right. He's snitching on Suge, your big homie. Or I don't know if he's your big homie, but your homie, your brother. This is the same guy that was threatening your man Trayvon Lane. He the one that out here talking about how he was a Crip first, a Long Beach Crip. And he'll do something. He ain't got to use his hands to get something done to Trayvon because he's the orchestrator. Are you familiar with this, Neckbone? I know you've been off the grid for a minute. You can research any and everything that I'm telling you. And I heard you say your Instagram. I might just start sending you all this stuff so you can know who you dealing with. That nigga's the police. Are you aware that in the grand jury testimony for Keefe D's case that he mentions your name and mentions Buntry's name and all y'all government names? Are you familiar with that, Neckbone? And you going down, sitting down, letting this nigga ask you questions? You don't think he's trying to put you in the trick bag? Talking about, yo, let's do the roll call. The roll call? He just getting you to talk about different Pyrus and Bloods and Crips. He's a rat. He's a federal informant. He's a LAPD informant. He's a Las Vegas Metro PD informant. There's the guy. Do you know that he was sentenced to almost 90 months and only did a year? And you sitting down with this dude? You trusting him to interview you? Who you think he working for? That nigga ain't got no job. They done sold off their channel. They done F Mar James out of his. I feel bad for Mar James, man. Mar James, they better have broke you off some real paper. Not no little 1,000, 5,000. They supposed to broke you off some real paper. 50, 100,000 for your channel. They over there selling theirs and they gonna take yours? They used you, brother.